Good evening, I'm Ben Kitili at the KTN News Center. Many thanks for joining us on the program this Thursday night, the 21st day of April 2016. KTN Prime begins now. The Kenyan government is now demanding that the International Criminal Court hands over all the investigation files and evidence supporting the charges against 3 Kenyans for alleged witness interference. Attorney General Professor Githu Muigai has also declared that Kenya will not hand over the 3 suspects, Walter Barasa, Paul Gisheru and Philip Kipkoech Bet, to the ICC as requested by ICC prosecutor Fatu Bensouda. KTN's Duncan Haemba begins our broadcast tonight.
During last weekend's Thanksgiving rally for the infamous Ocampo 6 following termination of all cases against them, President Uhuru Kenyatta was categorical on Kenya's stand with regard to the Hague-based International Criminal Court, ICC.
Hakuna mtu mwingine sisi tutaruhusu apelekwe pahali popote. Kama kuna sheria, tuko na makoti yetu hapa.
And now the government's chief legal advisor, Professor Githu Muigai, has stepped forward, stating Kenya's demand to ICC.
Kenya shall be engaging the ICC in seeking the handover of the investigation files, evidence, and other requisite information to support the preferring of charges and subsequent prosecution of the 3 persons locally.
The Attorney General admits that indeed the alleged witness interference against 3 Kenyans, Walter Baraza, Paul Gisheru and Philip Kipkoech, are serious charges as per Article 70 of the Rome Statute on witness interference, but he says due process must be adhered to.
If the court failed to cooperate with us on our request for material that they hold, we ourselves reserve the right to raise this issue at the state parties assembly, and in particular to raise issues about the conduct of the prosecution.
With regard to Kenya's continued status as state party to the Rome Statute, the AG says,
Kenya, as a measure of good faith, will not take unilateral action on this issue until the discussion within the AAU has been exhausted. Once that discussion has been exhausted, and depending on the outcome, Kenya reserves her right to act in her own national interest.
On Tuesday, a section of the Opposition Alliance Code appeared to dismiss calls for Kenya's withdrawal from ICC.
Our extent of engagement with the ICC is not time-bound by the pronouncements or proclamations of the President.
The government says the setting up of the International Crimes Division at the High Court will be finalized in a few weeks' time. Kenya's latest demand on ICC is a classic example of the hunter becoming the hunted on the debate of cooperation and non-cooperation. Duncan Haemba, KTN News, Nairobi.
Another big standoff revived today is a controversy surrounding the 250 billion shilling Eurobond cash. The Kenyan Opposition Coalition Court has insisted that indeed the Jubilee government cannot account for the entire amount. The opposition today protested the refusal by the Central Bank Governor Patrick Njoroge to meet with the court leaders over the issue. As KTN's political affairs senior reporter Chris Tairo now tells us, court maintains the Jubilee administration is concealing information and documents it holds in relation to the Eurobond billions.
Hours after Central Bank Governor Dr. Patrick Njoroge refused to meet opposition court principals over the 250 billion shillings Eurobond saga, terming them as a third party, the principals Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka and Moses Wetangula fired salvos directed to Njoroge and the Jubilee administration.
We Kenyans have suddenly become third parties in the case of money borrowed in our name to be paid by all of us, our children and our grandchildren. But it is a final realization that the money is lost, which must concern us.
He has a responsibility to convene a board and have a proper policy on this matter. And that's the reason why we are pushing this thing directly to his door. So as you know, he has taken me to court, but I don't care. and I'm not scared.
The principals questioned why it is taking the Jubilee administration so long to make public some of the projects that it has initiated using the Eurobond proceeds, despite promising Kenyans to do so 3 months ago.
Pesa ilikopeshwa huko nje, ilikopa kule nje, wakaiba huko nje. Yale walileta hapa ni deni tu.
Na vile tumeambiwa na gavana, tunaanza kushuku ya kwamba yeye pia anatumiwa kuweka kivuli kwa mambo ya Eurobond.
The opposition has already written to the International Monetary Fund seeking clarity on the matter after they revealed that the government has been issuing contradicting reports. While on one hand, they state that the Eurobond funds were used to settle debts incurred by the Grand Coalition government. On the other hand, they claim that the proceeds were used to fund projects for the Jubilee regime.
The government is the manager of the people's money. CBK cannot justifiably and legally erect a war of privilege against the owner of the money, the people of the Republic of Kenya.
Kama hiyo pesa iliingia, uchumi ya taifa letu ingeimarika. Ile shida wananchi walikuwa nao hazingekuweko.
The principals also questioned why the CBK has chosen to operate without a board for the past 2 years, arguing that it goes against the CBK Act.
How can the president be sleeping on the job this much that he even forget that his central bank does not have a board, so that now the chairman is allowed to just work with the governor?
The Director of Public Prosecutions ordered that the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission to investigate the Eurobond saga weeks after it had cleared some Treasury officials of any wrongdoing. According to the DPP, there are some crucial areas which require clarifications or additional information from the anti-graft body. As the opposition code coalition continue consulting their lawyers on any possible legal action to take against the Jubilee administration, they are also expected to engage Kenyans through public rallies starting this Saturday at Kamkunji grounds. Chris Dairu, KTN News.
The opposition coalition have said that they will continue digging. Let's now take a look at another issue concerning more millions in Tumeru County now, where the Devolution Secretary Mwangi Kiunjuri dismissed claims by county governors that money had not been disbursed to the counties by the national government. KTN senior reporter Karo Nderi is there and reports on day 2 of the 3rd Devolution Conference.
Like Nakuru General Hospital.
The deliberations of Thursday's sitting at the 3rd Devolution Conference centered on health and agriculture, key functions that can transform the lives of the citizenry if handled well by the county governments. And as the sessions went on, the Devolution Cabinet Secretary Mwangi Kiunjuri sought an opportunity to clarify the government's commitment to ensuring that devolution actually works as envisioned.
Again, you say that you don't get money from government. But when there is no money, you're asking government for the money. Which is which? Yeah? Okay. Where do you get your money? If you don't get your money from government, where do you draw the money from?
The Council of Governors chairperson, who is also the host of the event, however, defended his statements, saying that issues surrounding the financial model need to be resolved.
This is like the story of the equipment, where you are told equipment is there and look around, you don't see it. If the money is there, maybe unless it was brought yesterday, unless the money was disbursed this week to his ministry, I don't know. But as far as I'm concerned, we, as a sign of good faith and wanting that money to come, we already agreed on that program. But we said we need to agree on the framework of disbursement.
Kiunjuri remarked that some 20 billion shillings from the World Bank had not yet been disbursed due to disagreements between the national government and the county governments.
Conditional grant by the World Bank. Yeah? And it is even very clear which percentage will go to the government and which percentage will go to the county government. But government has signed on its part. You should ask yourself who has not signed.
By the way, we have signed for that money. So I don't even know what he's telling you. If he's telling you we haven't.
The 3rd Devolution Conference will come to a close on Saturday. The apparent antagony between the county governments and the national government itself needs to be resolved according to the stakeholders, because without them pulling in one direction, then devolution will not be a success story. Carol Nderi, KTN News, Meru County.
So wherever you are in Kenya tonight, what difference can you say devolution of power and resources has made to your life? As the governors marked their third year in office and as aspirants prepare to face off again next year for that powerful office of governor, KTN's Timothy Otieno went out to get the story of Wanjiku and Atieno to get the feeling of what Kenyans can write home about when it comes to this new system of governance.
The Council of Governors have been at the helm of the administration at the county level for well over 36 months, spearheading change in service delivery as enshrined in the 2010 Constitution. But for some residents in Nairobi's Kibera slums, the governors have nothing much to write home about. Meet businesswoman Cynthia Achieng, who owns a shop along one of the busy streets within Africa's largest slums. Cynthia was one of those who were very optimistic that devolution meant more money at the grassroots level, and that meant more opportunities to access loans for her business. But sadly for her, devolution may not have yielded the anticipated results.
I don't think it has brought so much into my life, because me as a businesswoman, I would like to see more or to have more. But with this devolution, there is a lot of challenges.
In fact, it's working.
It's a statement contradicted by 34-year-old Kennedy Otieno, who believes Kenya may just be undergoing the initial teething problems that come with a new system of governance.
We need to appreciate on the small or the larger thing that we get, because we are not only the ones that are being served. The government has a lot to do. They're also human beings like us here, but we need to unite together to see how we can overcome the challenges. The challenges must be there, but we need to see the right way of how to overcome those challenges.
The creation of counties has seen health as well as the agricultural sector become devolved, with governors insisting that the number of health workers has increased from 9,000 in 2013 to about 15,000 currently as a result of devolution. But it is such projects as the construction of these 20 classrooms at Kibera's Olympic Primary School, partly funded by the Nairobi County government, that residents of the area feel may breathe new life to the concept of decentralizing administrative functions. Already, the new classes will host 1,200 pupils in a school choked to capacity with 4,065 students in total.
Here in Nairobi City, you will find an MCA bragging that he has built a classroom, or an MP bragging he has built a classroom, and maybe something that has been built by an NGO. So it is hard to know what devolution has done especially in Nairobi.
Those I spoke to here insist that the concept of devolution was never truly explained to the public.
When the devolution came, they didn't do more of sensitization to tell people more how the devolution government is supposed to work in terms of how it's supposed to deliver to the common mwananchi.
Issues of over-representation also brought forth by the residents, who say this undermines Kenyans' interests.
They are overburdening us by paying these guys, because they are doing extremely nothing.
Where do you think work still needs to be done apart from sensitization? Because
okay, where work
3 years down
exactly,
the line.
exactly.
Yeah.
So where work still needs to be done, it's about the tenders. I've been hearing people complaining about the tenders that people do apply, maybe for the supplies or what. So when someone applies for this, you hear some complaints back that the one that I applied failed.
Cynthia believes that not all is doom and gloom for many Kenyans within the counties. Although she admits business is slow, she remains all smiles that the future of a devolved Kenya is brighter, and that one day devolution will reap benefits that reach right down to the last man and woman. Timothy Otieno, KTN News.
Very important question that Timothy Atieno put to Kenyans, and we ask you the same question again tonight. We're asking you, what difference, or has devolution made a difference in your life? That is a big question discussion tonight. Has devolution made a difference in your life? Tell us what do you think. Share your opinion using the SMS line 22155, also on Twitter at Ben_Kitili at KTN News, and the hashtag is KTN Prime. We shall be sampling your views, your tweets and texts during this live newscast. Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta has won the new National Youth Service leadership under the Ministry of Devolution and Planning. That his government will not tolerate corrupt individuals. He says that he will always side with the youth to ensure that the funds set aside for youth projects are properly utilized. This comes at a time when Kenyans are still waiting for answers regarding the misappropriation of 791 million Kenya shillings that was allocated by the government for NYS. The president was speaking at Gilgil in the county of Nakuru during the National Youth Service pass-out parade.
Asante sana. Vikundi vinne.
No individual can steal Kenya's future. Yet this will not stop some from trying. But the rogue elements who try to subvert the dreams of our youth and the future of our country will always be overcome by our resilience. They will always be overcome by our youth who choose the path of hard work and hope over the easy path of corruption and sloth. Such youth can always count on my government's support. They can rest assured that I stand with them. We have appointed new and proven leadership to the National Youth Service. We expect much from them. We expect very much from them. And that is why, as we go on, we will not quit on an initiative that is changing the fortunes of so many youth. For as long as I am president, we will support the National Youth Service and we will invest in our youth.
Take you to the county of Uasin Gishu, where panic gripped two Uasin Gishu villages following the discovery of a coffin smeared with blood and a human skeleton at different locations. KTN's Elvis Koske was there.
Shock and horror gripped Nyenyi village, lesser location of Uasin Gishu County, after one family woke up to the scenes of a coffin smeared with blood and placed in a maize plantation. The coffin, fit for a newborn, had nothing inside. It sent shockwaves across the usually quiet location, with villagers from far and wide thronging the village to see for themselves.
Hiyo ni jeneza ndogo ya mtoto na kuna kitu kama liver imewekwa juu.
Hao majirani wetu tumeishi na hawa miaka mingi, miaka zaidi ya 40, na hatujawahi vitu kama hii. Tumejaribu kuuliza wazee ambaye ni wakubwa kwetu, na wamesema ya kwamba wachewahi ona kwa Kalenjin nzima.
Villagers wondered about the motive of the perpetrator, as some claimed it was an act of witchcraft.
Sina shida yote na mtu yote. Sina shida yote na shamba langu. Shamba langu ni clean, niko na title yangu, niko na kila kitu yangu. Sina shida yote na mtu yote.
Mtu ako na target fulani yenye hatujui.
Area Chief Joseph Cheruiyot says investigations are underway. In another incident, brick workers stumbled upon a human skeleton in a swamp at Cheboyo village near Kipkaren River. The skeleton, which was a fully grown human being, was discovered buried as the workers excavated the soil to make the bricks.
Ndaye nikaona nini upande wa macho huko. Nikaona kama ni mtu. Nikarudisha nikamwambia ndugu yangu bana, hii ni mtu. Kweli vile tulienda tukafika katikati. Nikano huyo ni mtu, lakini sasa inaonekana alikufa kitambo sana.
Upon digging further, the workers found the full skeleton, forcing them to flee from the site.
Lakini sasa huyo mtu kulingana na vile alikuwa pale, alikuwa juu.
Mimi mwenyewe kama mwenye shamba nimeshindwa, sijui hizi mifupa nitasipeleka wapi. Nimeshangaa sababu sijai kutana na machapo kama hiyo, sababu watu wao wanasikwa mbali na huyu tumepata tu juu ya mchanga.
Area Chief Sami Tororei urged the residents to be calm as investigation were underway to identify the family that is believed to have stayed in that piece of land for that long. Elvis Kosgei, KTN News in Uasin Gishu County.
From the county of Uasin Gishu to Embu, where an Anglican priest accused of defiling his 7-year-old niece was today arraigned at the Embu Law Courts, where he was charged with a crime. The accused, Reverend Elijah Gishangi of the ACK Mbiruri Parish, was brought before Embu Principal Magistrate Robinson Oigara to answer to 2 counts of defilement. He denied both charges and was released on 100,000 shillings bond or cash bail of 50,000 until the 5th of May. The case will be heard on May 30th.
Mbele ya na tarehe 19
month of May, you can get your month of May.
From the
Month of May.
African Airline. The current strategy is to create locally incorporated airlines to operate services using a common branding, operational standards, as well as sales platform. KTN's Joy Doreen Bida spoke to FastJet's General Manager, John Kors, on the airline's goals.
In the wake of increased airlines plying the East African skies, low-cost carrier FastJet identified its niche, the low-cost traveler. The airline chose Dar es Salaam, Tanzania as its first operating base in Africa, with flights from Julius Nyerere International Airport commencing on the 29th of November 2012, sparking a ticket pricing war in the region with relatively cheaper fares.
So far, we have increased up to 4 aircraft now plying as far south as Joburg and as far north as Nairobi and as far west as Entebbe.
Initially, flights operated successfully between Dar es Salaam and Kilimanjaro and between Dar es Salaam and Mwanza, but the Airbus flying airline has now added to its destinations the Dar es Salaam-Nairobi route to leverage on the increased business transactions by the rising middle class. The 1-hour flight offers fares exclusive of taxes.
If you were to review the accounts of our major investor, which is FastJet PLC, on the London Stock Exchange, you'll see that so far we've not yet made a profit. But we're hoping to break even this year.
After winning Africa's leading low-cost airline award at the 23rd Annual World Travel Awards held in Zanzibar, the British low-cost airline could see a crystal ball soon with its low-budget flights identity. Joy Doreen Bira, KTN News.
Most contractors opt to buy ready-made stones for various construction works to suit their needs. But have you ever taken the bother to know the craft behind the shaping of stones? On The Adventurer tonight, Ashley Mazuri visited the workshop of one of the makers of Kenya's finest stone cutting machines.
In Kenya, only about 22% of youths take up engineering courses, a situation that the government is eagerly trying to fix. This week on The Adventurer, we feature Joseph Kipkorir, an aeronautical engineering student who stumbled into making his own stone cutting machine.
I was in Egerton University since 2009. I was doing bachelor's degree in aeronautical engineering, which was a training program. And after finishing that Egerton, I stayed home for like around a year or something.
During the one-year period, Joseph faced plenty of hurdles, including lack of school fees that made him idle until his father pushed him out of his comfort zone.
Tafikiria kidogo kuona how nikaenda YouTube, Google, then I got the principle. I made some two frames at first when I came, but then we didn't finish because of challenges mingi.
Most of the materials used are locally made.
Before I design a machine, I do what we call 3D design. Now, my approach of manufacture and design is a modern day digital manufacture, and we call that computer-aided design and manufacture. And I use a software called CATIA V5 to do the 3D design. Now when I do the 3D design, I get the specific measurements. I get to see the behavior of each and every part. I can also get the simulation. On a special case, I do something called, stress analysis. There's a software we use that for. So you get to see which part is strained, how much is it strained, which part is dangerous, which part can easily break. Once I'm done with the bill of quantities, I'll get to know the prices for everything. Now I can get to do a quotation for a person. And after I do a quotation, I get the money, go buy the machine materials, build the machine, test it.
Despite the financial challenges faced by Joseph, I sought out to find what troubles him most.
Nobody knows who I am. Nobody knows that I'm here.
With limited capital, a small customer base and plenty of innovative ideas, Joseph Kipkorir not only hopes to have the most durable stone cutting machine in the country, but also be the first Kenyan to have an aircraft assembly plant. Ashley Mazuri, and this is The Adventurer.
Thank you, Ashley. Now, banks that do not abide to the set-out code of ethics as prescribed by the Kenya Bankers Association stand to be kicked out of the clearinghouse as the bankers' lobby outfit stamps its authority. KBS Chief Executive Officer Habil Olaka says these are some of the measures meant to strengthen good practices in the banking sector.
In the latest attempt to save face following the turn of events in the country's banking sector, the Kenya Bankers Association today signed onto the Code of Ethics for Business in Kenya and announced plans to adopt a self-regulatory framework and conduct standards for member banks.
The framework will be developed in support of various partners and enable KBA to enhance a legal standing on any member that does not adhere to ethical banking practices.
From the new Code of Ethics, KBA is looking to work closely with key partners to introduce requirements that are tied to best practices developed on behalf of the private sector by the Kenya Private Sector Alliance, Global Compact Network Kenya, and Kenya Association of Manufacturers as key interventions towards addressing corruption and unethical practices within the government and the private sector.
You asked a question about being arraigned and things like that. So far, obviously, nobody has yet been, but you can bet that's what we are trying to do.
In the wake of the current financial situation, the strengthening of consumer protection and winning back consumer trust is paramount.
With the ongoing shake-up of Kenya's lucrative banking sector, analysts reckon that weak corporate governance is to blame for the crisis that befell the three lenders, that is Dubai Bank, Imperial and Chase Bank. Efforts to strengthen good governance are yet to fully pick up. Abi Agina, KTN Business.
Welcome back once more. This time we take a look at what's happening in the world of sports. And President Uhuru Kenyatta has confirmed that he will sign the anti-doping bill of Kenya on Friday morning to ensure Kenya does not miss out on the Rio Olympics participation. President Kenyatta was speaking at State House, Nairobi, when he hosted the national sevens rugby team. He announced that the Singapore sevens winning team will share a token of 10 million shillings and have all their outstanding arrears cleared.
one champion, and it is Kenya.
Shuja's Sevens performance at the Singapore Sevens last weekend, where they lifted the main cup, beating Fiji in the finals, is one that warranted a presidential recognition. One by one, the Shujas were introduced to the head of state, with each getting a nod of approval. Head coach Benjamin Ayimba took the responsibility of having the head of state don the national colors. President Kenyatta later took part in an exhibition line-out before making his remarks.
This winning team shall receive the players, the coaches, the whole team will receive 10 million shillings from the government. And we shall also ensure that all their arrears, all their dues, even from some of our parastatals who have been supporting them, who wamelegalega kidogo ile tulikuwa tunaambiwa, yote mtapata.
To affirm his support for sports, President Kenyatta announced that he will sign the anti-doping bill of Kenya into law Friday morning to ensure Kenya does not miss out on the Rio Olympics.
Tomorrow we are signing that anti-doping bill, so nobody has a reason to say Kenya will not participate in the Olympics. We shall be at the Olympics, and I'm certain. What remains is for us as a government, the officials of the rugby union, the officials of the athletics, all of them to put their best foot forward. And ours is to ensure that we support our team and to ensure we support all our teams.
After President Uhuru Kenyatta's assurance to support the national sevens team and all the other teams that will be taking part in the Rio Olympics, now it's up to the teams to play their part. Lynn Washira, KTN.
That line out by the president looks very suspect. He could have lost the ball there. Well, in athletics, last year's Virgin Money London Marathon champion Eliud Kipchoge will take on 2014 champion Wilson Kipsang when the two Kenyans face off alongside world marathon record holder Dennis Kimeto and 2015 New York Marathon champion Stanley Biwott. In this year's IAAF Gold Label Road Race on Sunday, April 24th, with the Rio slots up for grabs, the Kenyan team will be eager to star in London.
Last year's Virgin London Marathon champion Eliud Kipchoge will take on, among others, 2014 champion Wilson Kipsang, marathon record holder Dennis Kimeto, and 2015 New York Marathon champion Stanley Biwott in a fiercer field of the 2016 London Marathon, the IAAF Gold Label Road Race on Sunday, 2014, labeled the Clash of Champions.
From the previous performances out of the guys, you find that I've run very well, and I've got lots of experience, and winning this race twice, and many of these guys find that I've not really won twice, and I've understood really the course very well, and I'm really very positive on it.
Kipchoge's winning time of 2 hours 4 minutes 42 seconds was just outside Kipsang's course record of 2 hours 4 minutes 29 seconds that was set in 2014. And looking forward, the Rio Olympics medal will be theirs for Team Kenya to snatch.
That's the only, above all, that's the only medal I don't have in my neck. And if I actually get a position to be in the team for Rio and get a gold medal, then I will really be more than happy.
Stanley Biwott running in London Marathon for the fourth time after finishing fourth last year, second in 2014 and eighth in 2013. Dennis Kimeto and Eliud Kipsang are likely to be the reigning champions' main challengers, with the latter two looking to make amends after dropping out of the IAAF World Championship in Beijing, China last year. Eritrea's Girme Gebreselassie is expected to be the main challenger to the Kenyan team after his victorious gold medal win at the 2015 World Championships in Beijing.
I didn't prefer to have many races and more concentrating for this. So all the preparation, what I did for this, I believe it's enough preparation.
On the women's front, two-time champion Mary Keitany, 2015 Chicago Marathon champion Flores Kiplagat, 2013 London champion and Olympics marathon silver medalist Priska Jeptoo, and 2013 Rotterdam Marathon champion Jemima Sumgong will represent Team Kenya. Moses Wahisi, KTN Sports.